It's that time of year, and one thing that we've got to be watching out for is obviously just how dry it's been, and you've probably noticed that even here in Oklahoma City, and out west it's been even worse, and because of the wind. Now today certainly breezy, but tomorrow it's really going to be cranking up a lot like what we experienced last Friday, unfortunately. So we're going to be watching our view from space very closely, looking for any dark spots. You can see a lot of the land scarred from all the fires last week, but earlier we did have, it looked like a fire popping up around Pawnee, but the latest scan shown that that's gone away. So some good news there, but nonetheless, the fire threat will still be high today, even here in Oklahoma City, but now in western Oklahoma, where wind gusts will be maybe a little bit higher, possibly as high as around 35 miles an hour or so. That's where that fire threat will be in the extreme category. So we do have a few burn bans today. That includes Major, Dewey, and Texas counties. Not a whole lot of those, but either way you put it, I wouldn't burn anything, at least for the next several days until your area can get a solid rain, and that could be a while. So some fire prevention tips: obviously avoid any activities that could cause some sparks or flames, and definitely obey the burn bans. Don't have a lot of those right now, but I wouldn't be surprised if we add to those over the next couple of days just to be safe. Properly dispose of any cigarette butts or anything like that. Always a bad idea to just throw it out the window, and keep running vehicles off of the grass. So tomorrow, the wind advisory already in place for tomorrow throughout the entire day. The high wind watch officially for the Panhandle. National Cowboy Museum camera, part of our Lucky Star Skycam network. Blue skies, 75 degrees, a south wind at 11 miles an hour. So a nice start to the week, that's for sure. Temperatures already in the low to upper 80s in southwest Oklahoma. We still have 60s though in the Panhandle, but relative humidity now in the upper single digits in the far west, still in the 30s here, but it's dry. Not doing too bad in eastern Oklahoma, and that's also where we have a little bit more wind, but a southwest wind generally between about 15 to 20 at times 25 miles an hour. So it's not an extremely windy day, but it certainly wouldn't take a whole lot for us to get some fires this afternoon. Already seeing possibly a couple of those earlier today, but nothing too serious, thankfully. Right now, though, again, our big time storm system, it's out to the west, and it's going to be moving off to the east here over the next several hours. So out ahead of it, it's going to be very warm, and it's still going to be pretty windy today. Looking for a high of about 86 degrees in Oklahoma City, but approaching the low 90s in the southwest. And for this afternoon, we're going to keep that chance of wind gusts approaching around 35 to 40 miles an hour in western Oklahoma. So for this afternoon, the fire threat's high in Oklahoma City, but it's more extreme out to the west. And then overnight tonight, temperatures only dropping down into the 60s. Tomorrow, we're going to be back in the 80s with a very strong wind coming in out of the south. Gusts as high as around 40 to possibly 45 in Oklahoma City, but easily around 50 in western Oklahoma. So we could still see wind gusts 50 to maybe 55 miles an hour in western Oklahoma. Isolated, possibly up to 60. Not nearly as high in Oklahoma City, but still very windy. Now, the fire threat tomorrow, we're going to be in that extreme category all the way past I-35, especially up into Osage County. The farther south and east you go, that fire threat will be a lot less, but still there. Now, by tomorrow evening into tomorrow night, here comes that storm system. But as far as any rain is concerned, I don't see a whole lot of that. I do think there's a pretty likely chance we at least get a few rain and storms in far eastern Oklahoma. On the backside of that, it could be cold enough. We could have just enough moisture that we could get a light wintry mix, primarily in the Panhandle. So with those storms being said, I think there's going to be a low threat that some of those could become severe in the far eastern part of the state, with hail and damaging winds all being a threat. By Wednesday afternoon, a lot nicer. Temperatures will be cooler, the upper 50s, low to mid 60s across the south, but we're also going to have a lot less wind coming in out of the north, between about 5 to 15 and only between about 10 to 20 in western Oklahoma. By Thursday, temperatures in the low 60s, and for Easter weekend, we do warm things back up.